Before I begin, before I begin my talk, I would like to recognize Indigenous peoples around the world, particularly in my home country in Canada, and particularly those on whose land this Congress has been held, the Wurundjeri people, and acknowledging elders past and present. So we'll just discuss a little bit on where the future's going. We'll then get into talking a little bit more about engagement. And this is, I'm going to borrow some of the things that I talked about last weekend with the students at the pre-conference session because the dialogue that we've then had since then has been really good. So hopefully this can help to set the stage a little bit. I told them too, this was my only conflict of interest to declare. I really do love public health, and I'm very unbiased in that sense. When we're talking about the future, I think it's important to look to the past first. And so in trying to, I started thinking a little bit about where we've been in public health. And so here's a very non-comprehensive list of some of the accomplishments over the past 50 years. As you know, the World Federation of Public Health Associations is celebrating its 50th. It was founded in 1967. And it's pretty exciting. Tomorrow we'll be having the full birthday celebration in conjunction with World Health Day, so that'll be quite fun. But, you know, a few of the things that have happened over the past 50 years, you know, we've eradicated a disease, smallpox, off the face of the earth. We've really helped to contextualize how health promotion should be done. There were the Millennium Development Goals. There was the Alma-Ata Declaration, the ambition to provide health for all. There's a framework convention on tobacco control. And really, I couldn't have possibly fit all the big accomplishments over the past 50 years into this slide. So I had to just pick out a few. But as we start thinking about where the future's going, I think it's important to look to the past and to look to these trends. As I was starting to think, you know, what am I going to speak about in terms of where the future of public health's going, because I really have no idea, I heard a little bit about the Google DeepMind project, which I think is fascinating and an illustration of just how much technology is going to change our world. Who here's heard of Google DeepMind? Can we see a show of hands? I only see a few hands up in the audience. I'm just going to really quickly share this story because I think it's so impactful and will have a huge impact on where professionals, including public health professionals, are going. So several years ago, Google's DeepMind project set out to play a board game and beat the world's best Go player. So for those of you that haven't seen Go before, it's this very complicated game similar to chess, and it's got a very large board, and it's got thousands of permutations. Unlike chess, skipping over, you kind of have to surround a piece to win and then take it off the board. But it looks like a simple game, perhaps, if you just see a picture, but playing it, it's reportedly supposed to be the most complicated game that humans can play. And so Google set out to try to beat the world's best Go player. And over a series of several games, it ended up doing that. In fact, one of the moves that it made in the second game of Go was thought to be a mistake. The Google artificial intelligence machine made a move that then people, the commentator especially, said, oh, well, they're going to lose that game after that mistake. And then several minutes later, they realized that it was, in fact, not a mistake, but it was a move that was so beautiful and so creative that perhaps a human could never have even thought about it. Let's just stop and reflect on that for a minute, because that's pretty impressive. It was kind of cheesy, but one of the Go commentators afterwards had a tear come to his eye because it was just so beautiful seeing this move. But what I think this is saying is that perhaps there's no task that's not surmountable for machines and for artificial intelligence. And so where does that leave us as professionals? I mean, I think we have to situate ourselves within it. So then as I started thinking where we've been, I started looking where we've come from in public health. And of course, this is sort of what I see as one of those founding documents of public health. Who recognizes this image? This is John Snow's map of the Broad Street pump from many years ago. How do we do this today? Well, this is just one visualization of the molecular epidemiology of the Ebola outbreak, which just demonstrates that now we're able to do it far better than John Snow going around with pen and paper marking off on the map where the cases of cholera were. We can now trace things in real time, and really the tasks that we once did are now automated, and the amount of things and the complexity of things that we're able to accomplish is just all the more impressive. So where does that leave us into the future? I mean, I think it's pretty difficult to map out a roadmap of the future. And so I just put up here the things that we do know. And those are all these big global treaties and agreements that have been made, and some of the things that over the next 50 years will perhaps unfold. You know, I put this together and then I looked at this. And I thought, that's a pretty intimidating set of promises that we're making. And I also thought, how are these decisions being made? Well, they're being made by people in leadership today, which is fine. But who are the people that are going to be having to carry out these things? It's the next generation. And we need innovation. We need creativity in order to, really accomplish these big, massive goals that we've set out in front of ourselves. Trying to think of innovation and creativity made me think of, the famous Mark Zuckerberg. And everyone probably knows the story of Mark Zuckerberg, right? He was a bureaucrat in the U.S. civil service and worked for many decades before finally deciding, this telephone, this email thing doesn't, make sense to me. I'm going to invent something like Facebook. And at the end of his career with gray hair and, in his last days before retirement, he invented Facebook, right? And I'm, of course, being incredibly sarcastic because that's not where innovation comes from, but where is our leadership in public health coming from? I think we need to do a better job of engaging students and young professionals, not just to help them in their career progressions, but actually to be able to accomplish some of these goals. We need innovation, we need creativity, we need energy. I'm going to stop talking now and allow a few other people to come up, share some thoughts, and then I want all of you to become engaged. So please do move a bit closer if you don't mind, and please do start tweeting like crazy. I saw a few tweets out there, but not nearly the amount that we need to really get the dialogue going. But looking forward to discussing more about engaging students, young professionals. So